church brings me closer to my Savior. Little bit of heaven, a whole lot of love left behind.
Well, good morning and welcome to Rise and Shine this morning. As I've said before, there's nothing shining out there this morning except maybe your smile. They won't put on a smile today. That would be good because you know what? They're contagious. You smile at somebody, hopefully they smile back. But we are thrilled to have some guests with us this morning, and we're going to let them introduce themselves, and then we're going to talk about some exciting things. I'm just so excited. When my first guest called and said this lady was coming, I'm like, absolutely, we'll take her. So we have.
Okay. Well, we're here for our last Monday of the month to give our numbers for what's going on in the housing market. And of course, I'm excited because my good friend Libby Gatewood is also with me. Of course, I let her know as she's driving she is from Chester, Virginia, not far from Richmond. And she has been active in real estate for 45 years. She doesn't look old enough for that. But of course, we're wearing our pink for a reason. We'll get to that in a few minutes. But for now, as far as Libby we had our state convention for Virginia Association of Realtors. Many realtors throughout the state of Virginia met in Richmond for our annual conference. And at that awards banquet, Libby was honored by Virginia Housing. Now, to me, it was an award for Realtor of the Year for the state of Virginia.
Oh, wow.
From Virginia Housing. And so it's remarkable. As far as I'll read exactly, she is called and of course, Virginia Housing used to be called VHDA. And many times we hear that word nowadays, and especially for first-time home buyers. But also, it's named Virginia Housing right now. But Libby was awarded as the Lifetime Supporter Award. And that's because of her leadership. You know, she told us how many years she had been in real estate. Well, it wasn't too many years after that she began working with what we called VHDA at the time. And so Virginia Housing, how many first-time home buyers that she has helped during these years is remarkable. She is an instructor for Virginia Housing, but all these things put together, that's why she got this state award. But it was because of their leadership in affordable housing and her unwavering, is that the word for it, commitment to first-time home buyers. So I wanted Libby to come along and give us a little information about Virginia Housing and how Virginia Housing has helped first-time home buyers through the years and how they continually evolve to help our first-time home buyers. So take it away, Libby. Did I say it's Libby Gatewood? I got all into, I don't remember if I'd said her name or not.
Well, good morning, everybody. I was honored and surprised that Miss Betty was, well, you need to come with me Monday morning. But at any rate, I am thrilled to be here. And Virginia Housing has been a real important part of my career because we are able to help first-time home buyers. And first-time home buyers, as we say, they don't know anything. They don't know about their credit report. They don't know about how it works and what a realtor does or what the appraiser does or what the home inspector does. And there's so much. And I'm just going to read to you the Virginia Housing about this agency. Virginia Housing is a self-supporting, non-for-profit organization created in the Commonwealth of Virginia in 1972 to help Virginians attain quality, affordable housing. Virginia Housing provides mortgages primarily for first-time home buyers, developers, and also they help the quality of rental housing. They use no state income tax dollars, no taxpayer dollars, but raise money through capital markets and funds from their loans, for their loans. And they also teach free homeownership housing classes and help people with disabilities and to the elderly make their homes more livable. Virginia Housing works with lenders, developers, local governments, community service organizations, and others to help quality housing within reach for every Virginian. And that's how I got started, teaching the homebuyer class. Now, here's the book. It's the Housing How-To. And this is free for the first-time home buyers. And it not necessarily just first time, but it's you've not owned a house in more than 3 years. They now have some programs where they help others too. But this is like a 6-hour course. And you can take it live, and that's how I got involved. I would teach the part about real estate and appraising and so forth. And we had other people there, credit counselors, mortgage representatives, and of course the realtor, talk about the real estate part of it and how to get in to buy a house or how to look at houses and what that means to work with the realtor, but also the home inspector and the closing. The person is going to close, whether it's an attorney or title company. They talk about all the pieces to bring the puzzle together to own a house. And it just was kind of a passion for me. I even did a little book, coloring book for kids on how to help mom and dad save to buy a house, like turn the water off, turn the lights off, little things like that. So it's just been sort of a passion of mine, but it has led to me being able to help. Now, as a realtor, when I go teach this class, I'm not Libby Gatewood with Napier Realtors ERA, come work with me. I am the person that is talking about how to work with the realtor and what to do. And there are realtors, you can go online and look up realtors and lenders that are trained to understand more about VHDA. And most areas have several of each. And it's just really important to get the steps in place so you know how to buy the house, how to do this. Don't buy anything. Don't use Venmo 20 times a day. Don't do this, don't do that, because that can affect your credit. And you learn all about that. And then there's a little place in this book that talks about your spending plan. A spending plan, unlike the budget, you have a budget that you're supposed to kind of keep yourself reined in. However, the spending plan talks about all the things that are not picked up on your credit report, like your car insurance, how many times you go out to eat. If you have a beautiful long hair and you put 3 colors in it, and it's going to cost you $250 about every 6 weeks, that's part of your money that you're spending. And then when you buy a house, you have to make sure that you're not overspending, so you have the money for your mortgage payment. So that's, of course, now when I saw this young lady with the 3 colors in her hair, I thought, well, I went to my hairdresser and said, hey, can I get like 3 colors in my hair like that? It's so pretty. And she says, well, yes, you can, but you'll look like a leopard. And I said, oh, well, never mind. Like a leopard. So the thing of it is that Virginia Housing has so many different things to help buyers and to help. They also have a book called How to Be a Successful Renter. I never had anybody tell me when I left home how to rent or how to do any of that. And this book, it helps you to understand how rental works. And if you have a client that's been in a house and rented for years or an apartment, when I go out to show property, I talk about, well, now you had a landlord that would fix everything if anything breaks. When you own a house, you have to fix it yourself. And I had one client after 8 or 9 years, he called me and says, Miss Libby. He said, the eye on my stove is out. Now he had the old fashioned with the eyes and you pull them out. And I said, is everything off? Is it cool? Yes, ma'am. I said, gently pull it out. And I said, take it to Southern Hardware, and they'll get you one. You can take it and plug it in. Well, they called me about an hour later. It worked, and it was only $6.35. Now, that was one of the first houses I sold way back. I'm sure, well, we usually don't, hardly anybody has the eyes on their stove anymore. It's all flat surface or gas. But at any rate, there's so much about buying a house or renting a house that we don't think about, especially in that qualifying scenario, because the credit reports are on the things you have, debt you have, or a credit card, or your car payment, or something like that. And that way, the spending plan helps you. I had a couple that had a bass boat, and they went fishing every weekend, and then they went away for a weekend every month. And I said, well, how much you're spending? And they would write it down for me. And I said, are you comfortable still spending what you're doing and buying the house? And they didn't want to give up anything. And I said, well, let's talk about buying something less than that, so you're not what we call house poor. You owe more on your house, and then you become, why did I do this? I shouldn't have done this. Now I can't do anything. So that's part of it. And of course, Virginia Housing has different types of loan. They have grant money. They have a way in some situations where they help with down payment and your closing costs. And there's many, many programs. Here's another thing. There's all kinds of things in here that have things on it that talks about what you do and how to do it. And Virginia Housing does have programs that will fit most anyone. The other side of that coin is that they work really hard. And as I say, they don't take the tax dollars from you. They do things to make the money in the bonds to make sure that the housing is not, makes it more accessible to most everyone.
Now, is this only in Virginia?
There are other housing authorities in other states.
Okay.
Virginia was recognized as one of the best.
All right.
So
Oh,
that's really
yeah.
neat.
Give us an A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's sort of my story about Virginia Housing. I still teach those classes, but as I say, I only teach the real estate part. I don't teach about the mortgage side and the credit side, and I don't tell the home inspectors what to do. Now, I do tell the appraisers sometimes, because I've been licensed since way back when I first started being licensed. Started doing that in the early 80s. But the thing of it is that we just want people to understand what it means. And homeownership is one of the best ways to acquire wealth in our country today with the appreciation. So with that, I'll turn it over back to Miss Betty, and she's going to tell you about the market here in your area.
And now we can tell exactly why she won that award as far
Absolutely.
as, I mean, it's part of her life. It's part of her passion. And so she is definitely knows what she's talking about. Of course, the number of years gives us that experience too, that you can't gain that wisdom any other way other than the experience that she's had, and she's certainly had numerous experiences. But it's really great to know someone like Libby to be able to share information with us and just the knowledge. She actually served on the Virginia Real Estate Board. So not only did she have to keep me in line, she had to keep a lot of people in line throughout the state of Virginia. So Libby is just known as an expert throughout the state of Virginia. So we're really fortunate to have her sitting right here,
Tickled. You
right
don't know.
now. I know.
Just
And
tickle pink.
we're all tickled pink, aren't we? Real quickly, as far as our real estate numbers in Franklin County remain very much the same of what they have been. However, it is great to report to you that our inventory is greater right now than it has been throughout this year, throughout 2024. I noticed that our numbers of inventory have gradually gone up. We've kind of been a little roller coaster, but for right now, they are the highest that we have enjoyed throughout 2024. Now, there's a couple of reasons for that. Maybe the fact that our housing market has slowed down a little bit due to the interest rates, but we're happy to report that interest rates are a little bit lower right now than they have been for several months. So that's good. Even if they just inch down a little bit, that helps. But in looking at our numbers, we see once again inventory is higher. What has sold during the month of September, it looks like about 1/5 of those sales were sold for higher than the price that we began. Well, I should say whatever the price was at the time that the individual, the buyer, wrote the offer. So that is kind of an interesting number. Maybe another fifth is those homes sold for the list price, but it looks like about 3/5 of those homes that sold during the month of September. And that's so far. And of course, many homes will close today, but 3/5 of those homes sold for less than the list price. So that's kind of an interesting number to keep in mind, in that people are saying, okay, our prices remaining stable, our prices going up, our prices coming down. I don't know what to tell you. It's kind of it depends on the location. It depends on the price range. What I thought was very interesting were the number of homes that have closed during September that are over $1 million. So that number has picked up a little bit. So our other numbers, it looked like the home sales between two. What Libby has shared with us, some of those programs for first-time home buyers, they're out there. And they're out there for the buyers. There's a reason. And some of that grant money you don't have to pay back. And that's the beauty of Virginia housing. So a lot of good things are happening right now. You may hear that, oh, it's all bad and it's blah, blah, blah. But think about the positive. Just what you said when we opened up the show. Think of the positive, and it's going to be there for you. So a lot of programs are out there for the first-time home buyers. Now, I realize, too, that you got to look at what price range you're in. And so what you can afford, and the home that's out there that may be in your price range, it's got to match whatever the product of your loan product. So that's something that we have to be cautious of. But again, it looks like a few more homes are coming out that are in that 100 to 250 range. But again, you've got to make sure that it matches. And sometimes you get frustrated because you find that house and then you realize that your loan product, it doesn't match up for you. And sometimes if it's a seller that will fix some things, we can make it work. So again, it's a great time. Our inventory is better right now. It's stronger than it has been any month out of 2024. So things are looking good.
Well, that's good.
It's good. We'll see what October brings to us. It's hard to believe that October is right here upon us. And so that brings us right into my friend Libby Gatewood. We're all pink today. Of course, the Power of Pink luncheon is in Roanoke, and Libby not only is she a strong leader at Virginia Housing, she also is a strong leader when it comes to the Virginia Breast Cancer Foundation. So as a matter of fact, early on when I was getting to know Libby a little bit better, I realized that thanks to Libby and her advocacy, that we now have what we call the pink ribbon license plate. And so Libby actually has the license plate that says 1 in 8, because Libby, tell me how it
1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime. And so when I drive up someplace, like at a rest stop or something, are you one of 8 kids? I said, no, one of 8 women that was diagnosed with breast cancer. So
tell us a little bit about, as far as Pink is powerful today and during the entire month of October.
That's right. We're going to touch on that. I have my oncologist coming in a week or so to speak about her part and me, because I'm one of them. I'm one of them in 8 also. And so we're going to have different people. And I am thrilled to have you here to kick this off, because the month of October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So we're going to kick it off a day early.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just getting ready.
That's right.
But there's so much about breast cancer that I did not know. There's things about it that I thought I knew, but I didn't. In the United States, approximately 480,000 cases will be in this, has been in this year. And some of those are evasive and non-invasive, and 48,530 new cases of non-invasive breast cancer. And then in the United States, approximately 42,170 women will lose their life this year. So, but wait, men also can get breast cancer. And many times men think I've pulled a muscle or just a knot or it's this, and there's nothing wrong. And many times men wait till much later to go when there is a lump or a problem or something, because they think, oh, I'm just, But however, in the United States, 2,620 men will be not diagnosed this year. And that's less than 1%, of course, but it can be a little disheartening when someone is diagnosed and then they don't make it. 520 men in the United States will die from breast cancer this year.
Okay, if a man thought that he had something wrong, now would he go to his family doctor, or where would he start?
I think he should start with his family doctor, because then they can do some other tests and things. And if it's outside their scope, then they would send them to a specialist with breast cancer. But men are, they think it's a girly thing to have breast cancer. It's not a girly thing. It is what it is, It's part of the way our bodies are made. And so if a man feels a lump or a little, just like a pebble or something in their chest, it's a whole different situation here. So, and they don't think about it. So sometimes when we're talking about breast cancer, we don't all just talk about women, we talk about men too, because it seems as if more men do not find their cancer until it's in the latter stages, and then some of them don't make it. So it's a little bit ominous in a way. We just want to let you guys know that, you need to every once in a while do a self-chest exam. And to if you feel anything or notice anything or something's different or a nipple changes or something like that happens, they need to go check it out. Now, there's lots more in the news about women, of course. And of course, we toot our horns loud and clear, because I don't think there's still enough information and treatment out there for women. They've come a long way, because before they just didn't do as much research for women. With breast cancer. But in Virginia, approximately 7,500 women will be diagnosed this year, and 1,140 will die. That's not what we want to know. That's not what we want to hear, because if you catch something early, then you can do something about it. And it's the most commonly commonly diagnosed cancer in women. It's only behind lung cancer, number 2. Lung cancer is number 1. And over 400 million women are living with it, with a history of breast cancer. I'm a 28-year survivor. And breast cancer is still 1 in 8. So that's 12% of women would be diagnosed. And breast cancer is commonly diagnosed middle age. I was 44. But the women that started the Virginia Breast Cancer Foundation were in their 30s. And some of them had reoccurrence. And some of those women died, and they had small children. And they got wound up about it and did something about it. And they went on Mother's Day and kind of swarmed the Capitol with breast cancer, do more. You got to do more, do more, do more. And they were successful in starting the Virginia Breast Cancer Foundation. So I was diagnosed in '96, and I became involved with it then. I had one friend that had been diagnosed, and 17 years later, it came back. And she was just, we were like, how can this be, But that happens with breast cancer. You can be good and clean, clear, nothing going on, and then all of a sudden there's a reoccurrence. And this particular lady, her name was Becky, and she said, well, we got to do something about this. Let's see, we need more money, because it costs money to shout and do all the things that Virginia Breast Cancer Foundation does, but they also give information and packets and, in some situations, free mammograms, and they want to help with women's breast health. And that's part of what they do. And Becky says, well, why don't we get one of those license plate? Kentucky has one. And so we lobbied for that. And so we got everything together and did research on it. And they didn't know who to ask to present this bill on the floor in the General Assembly to have the breast cancer awareness license plate. Because of my work as a realtor, staying involved with my local representatives and state local representatives, even national representatives, to make sure we have private property rights protected, I knew Chip Dix well. He was one of our representatives. And I went to him and asked him if he would introduce the bill. And he did. And it was amazing, 100%. So Becky had the first one, and she didn't make it. But it was just amazing to see the formation of these angry women talking about what they needed, 5 of them. And you can go on the Virginia Breast Cancer Foundation's website and read about it, that it was just amazing that these women, they were young, got out there and gathered more women around them and made a difference in the research and the work, especially in Virginia, and having the money there for people to that was Becky's Cure It, that one.
It's amazing what a bunch of angry women can do, right?
Yeah,
Our
it is.
husbands wonder about us
It
now, but get a bunch of us together, we can do more than you can ever imagine.
Well, I had a doctor on my show last year, and I had just been detected with breast cancer, and I was 74. And he said, well, I tell my patients that after 74, they don't have to get a mammogram. And I'm like, you're wrong. Because if I hadn't had my mammogram, I had no signs whatsoever that I had breast cancer. And then when they showed me, it was like, it's like cornmeal, like white little grains of cornmeal in the picture that they did. And she said this could be indicative that you could have breast cancer. And then we went on with more tests. But I don't think there's any age that you should stop having mammograms. Do you, in your experience?
I personally, I don't. And with after a period of time, and sometimes we find that older women, 60s and 70s, are diagnosed even in their 80s. But the thing of it is that if you don't know your body, and you don't know what's going on with it and how to look for it and do things, there's all different little things you can do at home to see differences, to see differences on the in your breast. And I didn't know about all those different things. I didn't understand everything. Now, when I went to some meetings and things, they would give you fake boobies to feel to see if you could find it. And there was a test to see who could find the lump. And it doesn't matter if you're buxom or if you're flat-chested. The same thing that you do for that is what you would do at least once a month. And it's really important that we take care of ourselves and we know our bodies.
They used to years ago, maybe I'm just not paying attention, talk to you about self-breast examination, to do it in the shower and always be checking, but you don't hear, well, maybe it's because I'm older. I don't hear that as much, but it is very important to keep checking.
It is.
But now I didn't have a lump. You couldn't feel anything.
Right.
So if I hadn't gone for my mammogram, I would have never known. Now, when you were talking about breast cancer coming back, well, I never had any indication that I had it in the first place. So like I'm saying, I'm 75. How would I know? I wouldn't know if it came back.
Well, you may not know, and that's why I feel that mammograms are important all through our lifetime. And And it wouldn't hurt to even start them younger. If you have any breast cancer in your family or for anything like that, they usually will allow you. Insurance will then pay for a mammogram if you're younger.
Well, what's so weird about me, there was no history of breast cancer in my
Me neither.
family.
I didn't have any either.
And I'm glad nobody else in
Yeah.
my family has had to go through this. I said the chemo about did me in more so than just the cancer, I think. That's okay. I came back. I bounced back. I'm back. I say I'm back to normal. I told my boyfriend I prayed, I'd get back to normal. And he kind of rolled his eyes and shook his head like, what's normal? I'm back. Oh, but we were talking about, before we came on the air, losing our hair. Well, after the third treatment, I was in the shower and I picked through my hair to get the tangles out. I'm like, well, there it is. But I was prepared. I had something in the box to take to the beautician so she could help me out there. So,
Well, I'll share a little story about losing your hair. After I lost my hair, I was very angry with God. Very angry. And I'm in my bedroom praying on my knees by myself, screaming, God, why are you doing this to me? I just don't get it. This is awful. The hot flashes, no hair, no hair, and no eyebrows, no eyelashes. What on earth? And there was a noise that came into my room, like a vacuum seal, and it came into me. He told me I wasn't going to die, but I had to take what I learned from this experience and help other people. And that's what I've tried to do.
well, when I found out, we might need more tissues here.
Here, ladies, let me help you out.
When I found out I had breast cancer, I put it in God's hands. I'm like, you got to help me with this. And I said, going through the chemo, it wasn't good, but I don't know, but what somebody may have had it worse. So I just thank God every day that I have come through it. And I thank God that I'm on here, that I can share this so people will get out there and get their mammograms, their colonoscopies. Men go get those numbers checked for that prostate cancer. I mean, I see people when I go for treatments and we don't talk a lot. People don't share a lot about their cancer. But one lady and I were talking the other day, it was her first treatment. And she had her hair pulled straight back in a ponytail. And I thought, well, she already lost her hair. But when she got to go to the restroom, I saw she had a ponytail. I'm like, oh, you still have your hair. So she and I were chatting. But a lot of people don't share their stories. Me, I just chatty Cathy, I would. But I see younger women. When I went for some of my mammograms, so many young women were in there to get where I got, where I was having my biopsy. And I'm like, there's nobody exempt from this. I mean, it can happen young, it can happen old. Like I said, I'm 75 and going through this, but I feel like I can share this experience with other people and say, get out there. And I have one friend that has not had a mammogram, and I told her, if you don't make an appointment, I'm going to come and get you myself and take you. And I will.
When I was diagnosed, there was a run on the hospital for mammograms because I did share my story. And lots of my friends, they were over 40, had never had a mammogram. And lots of them went and had their mammogram. The other thing, if you are in the middle of treatment or if you're been diagnosed, it's helpful to have a support group. I went to a support group at Virginia Commonwealth University. It was at Stony Point, and I met some great people, and that's how I got involved with the Virginia Breast Cancer Foundation. But on the other hand, somebody was just ahead of me, and then there might be somebody who was just behind me in treatment, so I could ask them, well, how do you feel? What did it do? What is this? What is that? And da-da-da. So it helped me. I might be eating somebody's dust, but they've already been through the dust and can tell me about it.
Right.
So that's another important scenario if you have somebody to talk to or a group. And it was kind of nice in the group because people were ahead and some of us were behind and we could help each other. And it did help. And they've proven that if you go to a group and you keep a positive mental attitude, keep that going, there's that little thing inside you every once in a while say, oh, well, you're going to die. This is bad. This is this. And you have to talk to that inner you and say, wait a minute, that could happen, but I'm working for the positive side of happening. If I do the treatment, this will help. If I do this, it'll help. If I lose weight or if I eat the right things, it'll all help me. But that inner voice sometimes, which I'm going to say called Satan, sometimes will get ahead of you, and it's easy to take the downside than to keep the upside.
He will try to bring you down. And you know what I say to that? Devil, get out of here. Now, I have never had the thought that this is going to kill me. And I asked the doctor a couple of visits ago, I'm like, what's the percentage of living with what I've got? And he said 90%. I'm like, okay, I want to be in that 90%. And I have told friends that have been diagnosed, your attitude is everything. And when I got it, I was telling Betty, I didn't share it. I shared it with my family and the ones that I'm retired now, but the girls in the office and my close friends, but I didn't tell everybody. And I don't know, I don't know, I think to me, it was just kind of a personal thing. I wanted to go, I didn't want everybody to know what I was going through. Just like when I lost my leg. In 21, I lost a leg. In 22, my house flooded. In 23, I got breast cancer, and I have survived it. But only by the grace of God. Yes. And then the tornadoes that were coming up 220 this past week. Oh, dear Lord. And when it said, I never know which is north, east, west. And a friend said, Joyce, the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. I'm like, okay. So I'm on the west side of 220. And this tornado rotation was coming up the west side of 220. And I'm like, that's me. You know? It didn't touch down, thank God. And but I was prepared. I said, me going down steps when I'm home by myself with this bad leg, I don't do that because I don't want to get down there and fall. So and if anybody needs to do this, I took my chair, it was a counter height chair I could get up off of, pushed it down the hallway, shut all the doors so that if there was anything flying through the windows, it wouldn't hit me. And that was my little safe place, just in case that little tornado touched down there. But now I know what's east, west, north, and south. So if anything's coming after me again, I'm going to know.
Yeah.
But it's west of 220. I'm like, go see the sunset over there. Oh, they're doing my science
My
lesson.
car has a compass in it. I know which way I'm going at all times.
Well, yeah, and I've thought about that too. Okay, now when I'm going down there, it's south, and this is going north. But I was sitting there doing my, I guess what you call it a science lesson to myself to know where is this
Where
thing?
am I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I had a few flower pots sitting around outside, and I thought, well, I like them out there, not in here. But I do want to say that we do think about and all the people, the devastation that this tornado, this hurricane has caused. I know the flooding and the people that have lost everything. Our hearts go out to them. We have our little problems, but they got a bigger problem. And I told my daughter, she went through the Hurricane Michael down in Panama City, and it sucked the window out of her sunroom. But to me, that's always what saved her house, because it couldn't get the suction to take that house because of the window was sucked out. And she had about $20,000 worth of damage. I said, but Susan, your house is still standing. Your boat's still there. Your truck is there. Everybody else is sitting on a pile of rubble. So that's sucking that window out. And many years ago, when she was born, we had one of these tornado watches. This is 44 years ago. My sister was there. Well, I cracked the window on each end of the house because they say if you do that, now I'm not telling everybody to do this, okay, but I did. I got fussed at because my husband said everything would get wet. But I cracked the window on each end of the house so that it could not get that vacuum. Okay, something may have gotten wet, but hey, I can dry it. But, it didn't touch down, but I was prepared. I don't know, maybe we need to read up on that. Since we're having these tornadoes so much in this, or the possibility of one so much in this area, maybe we need to read up on that. Now, I'm not telling everybody to crack a window now if you're having a tornado, but I did, and we were putting cut glass in the linen closet and under the bed because we didn't want it flying around the house. Oh my, the stories that we could tell. Well, this has been wonderful having you here. I was so excited when Betty called me last night and said her friend was coming, and have a book that she has given me. This is Dr. Susan Love's Breast book by Susan M. Love, and I do have some reading to do here. And I'm just thrilled. And thank you so much for this book, and I will read it. I'm retired now, so
Well,
I'll sit
it
still
tells
long
a little
enough.
bit of everything. Over the years, for me, it was like the Bible for breast cancer. You could look everything up. The doctors don't tell you every single thing about what's going on. And if you don't understand a word or something, I go to that book and I can find it.
Well, that's good to have. And I got a book in the mail right when I was diagnosed with breast cancer about a support group, and I didn't go because I'm okay.
Well,
And so
that's what I thought. I don't need to go to a support group. And then who are these people? I don't even know them. But it's better sometimes if you don't know the people because you're more open with talking about things. But we're still friends today.
when
It's a club with a lot of members. Nobody wants to join.
Okay.
right. Well, when I lost my leg, my daughter asked my doctor, "Well, do you think Mom needs to go to a support group for amputees?" And he said, "Well, she might start one." It's never bothered me, and I don't even think about it. It's just so normal, natural. When you get out of bed, you got to put your leg on to go to the bathroom. A friend of mine said, "Can't you hop?" I'm like, "You got to be kidding me. It would be all over if I tried to hop to the bathroom." So it's just a natural thing now to put it on. And I even have a second leg that my girlfriend talked me into getting into a swimming pool. And of course, the trash bag leaked, and I got the bag all wet. But we dried her out, and she's okay. But nothing has really stopped me. I'm a little slower, and even my girlfriend tells me I can walk faster than her sister can. So, and I'm going to look into, since I am retired, doing water aerobics because they have a chair, and I don't know that I'm going to would let them put me down in that chair. Might think I'm handicapped or something. And I have another little book that she gave me. Always remember, you are braver than you think, stronger than you seem, and loved more than you know. And this is so true.
That's your journal.
Well,
That's your book to write. So there
Well,
you
honey,
go.
I could write some stories.
Well, I kept a journal and I found it years later. And I couldn't believe the things I'd written because part of it was very, very dark. And then the end of it, with coming after I've been in support group and all the other things, was very, very good. So my saying is, I'm too blessed to be stressed.
I agree with you.
She answers the phone that way. And if there's an advocate for Virginia Housing or the Breast Cancer Foundation, Libby is the one. I think that her whole wardrobe right now is pink, or it either has something pink in it. I have never seen her that she did not even, she was either wearing the ribbon, the pink ribbon, she was in pink. She has numerous pairs of pink cowboy boots.
Really?
I mean, if there's somebody pink, it is Libby.
Pink.
I mean, she is an advocate 100%
Well,
for the foundation.
it's
and
wonderful,
for breast
and
cancer
it's-
survivors.
it's wonderful. You've got to get that message out to ladies to get those mammograms because early detection is the
Best.
way. I mean, and like pancreatic cancer, sometimes you're in stage 4 and you don't even know you have it. One of the gentlemen in our bus garage, and he's hanging in there. They're doing a clinical trial with him, but he's doing good. Now, I'm interested in this license plate. I've had my license plate so long it's molded. So now all you have to do is ask for this when you go to
Yeah,
DMV.
it is, let me see what is on here, how much it's $25. And then if you personalize it, it's $10 more than the regular fee.
Okay.
How
So-
much of that goes to the foundation?
And it was
15?
35, let me see here, additional $10. Let me see, we'll receive $15 for each plate, and we've raised almost $1 million with that.
Wow.
So that's the amazing part. And, but, it's amazing to me, you notice the pink ribbon on the plates. Or if you're in traffic, you're always saying, hurry up and get out of the way. Who is that up there,
Well,
Oh, a pink ribbon person. That's okay, honey. Take your time.
Well, I see these personalized plates and I read them like, what does that mean? And I've often thought, if I got a personalized plate, what would I have put on it? And I've just renewed mine for I always do it for 3 years. So I hate to fool with bills. So I'll pay something up for a year, like my trash collection. I paid up for a year and I have a file. And I told my boyfriend, if I croak, here's the file. smile. All these things have been paid up for a year, so I have to put the money back. But I went to DMV one time. I was going to get one with Lions Club on it because I'm president of our Lions Club. Well, I had to have a letter from the secretary to say something about me being in the Lions Club. I'm like, I am a secretary at that time. I said, forget it. I'm not going through all this, but I will look into this. Maybe I can go back and get one of these. I'll have to come up with what I'm going to put on here. Well, I have a little motorized cart, and I call it's a go-go. So my nickname is like my clown name. I have a clown suit. Is JoJo. So it's my JoJo a go-go.
Well, that's what you need to put.
Yeah, it's not a pole dancer. Oh, goodness. But see, I'm telling you the stories I can tell. I've never been one, okay? Well, thank you, ladies, so much for coming this morning. This has been such a wealth of information about the housing and about breast cancer. And it's like we're saying, we're kicking off the month of October. See our beautiful wreath back here that Jenny Seal made us. And she's like, when are you going to take that down? I said, not until after October because it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And like I said, we're going to have my oncologist here.
I said, do you like my chemo hairdo? Have you had your mammogram? So, you can do things, sometimes the bald head gave me some strength I never knew I had because I wasn't a really super outgoing person. But for the past 28 years,
We didn't never know.
I really worked at it. But, somebody said, are you having a bad day? I said, yeah, I'm having a no hair day. I'm having a bad no hair day. So and I didn't have much hair anyway. So it's just the way it is.
Well, losing my hair has not bothered me. And now at home, I rarely wear it. And the other day, I had to run to town real quick to do something, and I didn't pick it up and put it on. And somebody said, oh, your hair's coming back. I'm like, I forgot. I didn't have it on. And nobody can tell that doesn't know me. They don't know but what it's mine. Now, my girlfriend says, well, I can tell it's a wig. I said, it's because it's one. But, hey, I mean, it's fine with me. I said, I hate for my hairdresser. She's losing about $100 a month for me to just pull this on. But,
Do you have that in your spending plan?
yes, I do. I have two. I have one to wear and one to wash. Well, talking about a spending plan, that is a good thing to talk about in the housing because people, like you say, when they buy a house, there's so many things they have been doing, then they're not going to be able to afford to do. So that is really something to think about. Now, Betty and I haven't talked about that. We've talked about credit ratings and getting those little charge cards paid off and getting prepared to buy a house, the little things that you have to do. And I did that in my own. I finished paying for my house before I retired. Just tickle pink. Still, I don't have a $900 house payment a month. So, because now since I'm retired, my income's cut in half. So that's a good thing. Now
You got a raise.
Yeah.
You got a raise and a deduction.
That's right. Well, somebody said, why didn't you retire before now? I'm like, because my house wasn't paid for. And I didn't want that $900 coming out of my retirement check. Because my spending may have controlled it a little more. Oh, me. I am one of these people that if I go and see something that I want, if I can afford it, I
Call
do.
jewelry.
That's right. I have some of that too. Somebody saw me one day and I didn't have my bracelets on. They're like, she didn't have her jewelry on. So it was hidden by my sleeve this morning. But it has been delightful having you ladies here. And I think it's the fall season, the runny nose, excuse me. But I'm just delighted that you were here to come with Betty. And I just give myself an A+ for having you on the show this morning. And thank you.
surprise.
Oh, I know. When you call me yesterday, I'm like, absolutely bring her. And it's so good that you could be here to kick off our month of breast cancer awareness.
Well, thank you.
And we're going to,
It was a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to get to meet you.
well, it's a pleasure to meet you too. If you're ever back in town, give me a ring.
Ooh.
My mother used to have a saying, come on over and we'll plug an onion. And everybody is like, what did she mean? Nobody knows what plug an onion means. But I always say, well, it's kind of come on over and we'll have fun. And we do have fun, don't we, Betty?
And cry a little bit.
That's right. Well,
If necessary.
that's right. Well, instead of having cried over my leg, I didn't cry over the flood. And the man from ServPro, I had about 3 inches of water in my basement. The solenoid switch behind my ice maker miscued. So from 6:15 in the morning to 6:15 that night, water continued to run out of my refrigerator. And it kind of ruined my new floors I had just had put down. So at 10 o'clock at night, Serpro's in there and I'm signing papers. And he's like, you're taking this very well. Usually ladies are in tears. I'm like, well, why add to the problem here and add some more water to it? No, I mean, it is what it is. And had to live in a hotel for a month and a half. And that was another experience. But I don't know. I won't let myself. I think one time after I lost my leg, I was so aggravated. I couldn't do something. I was in the wheelchair and I was so bad. I cried. And I think that's the only time I have shed a tear over any of these situations and I give that credit because God has helped me through this. So,
Absolutely.
and on that word,
Yep.
we're going to end this. And ladies, again, thank you so much for coming. We're going to take a short break. We've got a long program this morning, but I got just a few announcements. So much went on this past weekend. We do have a few things still coming up. So stick with us for a few more minutes and I'll have some announcements.